The keyword. That's the only one I was hunting.
Maybe it's on the next one.
There's been internal. I'm good with it. You need to put the talk on that. State before,
It's because it's this.
so it's a motion would have to be just to go to. Okay, you're down to 55 seconds. What page? 25 is on 9.
9. Oh, and with Scott not here, I think we're all on the same page. I said I think we're all on the same page. Without Scott.
Scott didn't change his.
I know. And that made me glad that I left mine.
20 seconds. And then, like I say, there's only 3 areas it's targeted. I'm surprised that Scott didn't give me a heads up. Okay. This meeting, we're going back in session on this one. And if you please stand, I'm going to have Judge Klein lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. This budget hearing, we're going back in session on this hearing here. As I stated the other night, the council's made a lot of cuts that we didn't want to do. I mean, there's a good reason for it, of which you're all aware of. Will be the last budget hearing before the adoption. One thing else, there will be no public speaking in this meeting unless the council calls on you. If council calls on you, that's good. But other than that, no public speaking will be tolerated. Oh, Jeffrey. So you jump meeting to meeting. Okay, the first thing.
As the first order of business, will you look at the clerk's office?
That's what I was getting ready to say. I know there was some talk on the clerk's office that I wanted to go back over. Do you want to call Amy?
Yes, Amy, she came up with a creative way to help us out even more.
Okay. Please. And that is on 11.
Yes.
Hello, Amy.
You'll want to check if that's on.
We'll hope now. All right.
Thank you.
I won't take credit for all this. I had a lot of workers on this today. As you guys know, back earlier in the year, Diane retired. We did not fill that position, which saved the county $35,760. Also, moving a bookkeeper who was a newer employee saved the county $8,518. That totals $44,278. And according to some of us, it's hard to understand, but that doesn't count towards the money that you're needing to save now. But for next year, I have checked with clerk perpetuation, I've checked with my 4D people. It is possible for me to move one clerk to 100% clerk perpetuation, and that would be a $39,312 savings. Again, that's $39,312. I would also be able to move another clerk with 50% perpetuation, and that would be $19,656. That total would be $58,968 that we could save if I'm able to keep all my clerks. Something that was mentioned to me as I walked into the room, a possibility, and I don't know anything of the details, but according to you guys last night, there's that public safety grant, RDC. If there's any of that that's not used, would it be possible to use that for my traffic clerk, considering it is public safety, and traffic is public safety? I don't really know. Something to look at, maybe. That might save us a little bit more. As far as the perpetuation fund, I can tell you that I have enough to do this for 2 years. After that, it would definitely need to be relooked at and see what would happen at that point.
Which
Good
lines are
job,
those?
Amy.
Yes.
Yes.
Which lines are those in, Amy, do you know?
Yes. So the clerks that I'm moving to perpetuation is 1000 11300 0001. The one that I am mentioning for the public safety,
Hold there just a second.
Okay.
100.
1000, and then 11300. It should say deputies.
We just need those last 5.
Page 11, and it's 11300.
Yeah, just need those last 5 numbers.
Okay.
And that's the one you're talking about? reusing?
That's the one that I think you can save $58,968.
Okay. Let me have that one first, because we'll do that in a vote on that one right there. The way we've been doing this, if we make those cuts, which I'm sure you already know, if we make those cuts, we're leaving that line open.
Yes,
We're not closing the line. We'll just be funding for 2026.
sounds good.
Okay?
I make that motion.
Janie's got a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Phil seconds. Any questions for Amy? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one's passed.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay.
Can I ask one quick question, because we were conferring on this too, that, who made the motion?
I did.
Jamie,
Jamie, who was your
second.
Phil.
Phil.
Jamie, Phil. All right, thank you.
Okay, now, sorry, the second one.
It was just a thought, the public safety grant, RDC, you guys use the initials. If any of that is unused, would it be possible for Tammy, who is my traffic clerk, to be able to tap into a little bit of that, just because traffic is public safety and,
I don't think they let it use this for salaries.
okay?
Yeah, I don't think,
Am I
I
right
know,
on that?
well, I was,
Any kind of traffic supplies that she has to have.
So she did have a supply line that we joined all in together, but she has to supply all of the ticket forms, so
That
that
would
could
make-
definitely be
That would
done.
make the grade, I
It's not a
think.
huge amount, but,
I know there was a little bit left on that, maybe, but without Scott and Jeff Quile confirming, that's a good thought. We can pursue that even after this.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Okay. Then we'll go to the tougher one.
Which is-
Sheriff.
Oh, may I ask you if you'd go more in line to the treasurer?
I would rather do the sheriff first.
Okay.
And I've got her on the list, but we will
Okay.
go there.
All right, thank you.
And this one, again, is on that RDC money.
Okay,
And what I understand there was a, Greg, help me out, $44,000 that you guys were gonna swing.
Excuse me. Yeah, so after Scott talked last night, and I believe there's still $75,000 of that RDC money. So I stayed late last night trying to come up with some ideas. I ran it by Martha today, and I've also talked to Scott earlier today, who says RDC is good with this. There's several steps here to make this work. Some of it's kind of behind the scenes, but long story short, on page 86 of the general fund dispatch, I have a utilities line there of $44,000.
hang on. Okay. And what'd you say? What line?
I have a utilities line that's $44,000
Got
there.
it.
Okay, so that would go to zero. And then, basically in the lit fund, there's a police car purchase there that would be, it's listed at $34,000, but it would be zeroed out there. And that $34,000 would be moved up to the utilities line in lit. which would make the lit utilities line 139,000 instead of the 105,000 it is now.
Okay. So this is still in the stage of, are we good, or are we, Martha, I know you was involved in this.
Martha told me that all is good, and she understands how it works behind the scenes. Scott told me today that, because it will involve, in January, I will come and ask for an additional to the general fund of $44,000 for a new police car purchase line, and then the RDC money will be used
For that.
for that.
So I guess my question would be on this one, on this 44,000 on the utility line. Do we defund that now, or do you want to wait and see as this plays out, if you want to move it?
I mean, it's my understanding from Martha that it's all good if we do this.
If you eliminate the line, he's gonna add it into his public safety budget. And then we will work with getting the police car back in.
Okay, so that would be,
Yeah, so that out of county general, we can pay for it, but RDC will actually make the payment for it.
okay, so we need to actually defund this line, the 44,000?
You need to remove the line.
The 44,000 utilities needs, yes, is gone.
44,000 in utilities, okay, that count number is 34000, which is the utilities.
I'll make a motion to move that line to $0.
Second.
Okay, I've got a first from Amy, a second from Janie. Any questions on this motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Martha, that one is removed.
And then I believe, Martha, am I correct? We need to go to the lit lock budget now and
Which
do that
page?
change there.
You can't add it if you're going over the advertised amount.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay, you've already cut some out of it?
We're about to, yes.
Okay.
82.
Sheriff, real quick,
Yes,
will that affect, where you told us that you were on pace to return over 300,000 at the end of the year, will that affect that any?
no, I mean, this is all, I mean, the stuff we're doing right now is for 2026 budget. It doesn't affect anything this go around.
Okay.
Okay, so in lit, so the first thing would be on line 44100, the police car equipment and install.
Okay.
Currently, it's 34,000.
Okay.
It can go to 0.
Okay. So,
I make a motion
Janie's got a motion on
to
the
take
table.
line 4410020.
And Jeff second? Yes. Jeff second the motion. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. So Martha, that 44,100 will go to 0. Okay, Greg?
All right, and then in the lit, line 34000, which is utilities there, that 105,000 will go to 139,000. So the 34 you just got rid of in the police will go to the utilities line there, or the police car will go
That
to
one
utilities.
get bumped up in the 2026 budget. Okay. Got a motion on this one?
So moved.
Jeff first. Do we have a second?
Second.
I think Amy got the second one on that one. Any questions on that? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Martha, that one is going to increase to 139,000.
Okay, so that should leave lit is exactly the same as it was, and it takes another 44,000 out of the general fund savings. So
Yes.
hopefully that'll save somebody.
Yep.
Thank you, Sheriff.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Before
much.
we leave, Sheriff, if you might, so, if I might interject. Currently, I see the budget that's been submitted as $1,508,937 for public safety lit, correct? Is that still correct, Martha?
Yes.
And new money coming in next year is $1,600,000. So if you spent all of your new money, you still would have a cash operating balance in that lit fund of $400,000. So there is room to take out of county general and add over into public safety lit and spend all of the new money every year, or at least budget it. Doesn't mean you will spend it all, but budget it. Anything that left goes into that cash operating balance, but when you don't budget all of your new money coming in, then you're gonna just grow that cash operating balance when you need it somewhere else. So there really is another $100,000, or $92,000 that could be budgeted in the lit fund for public safety.
If we had done it in time,
You can still plan to do it, you would just do an additional at the beginning
I
of the
see.
year.
okay.
I mean, you could take it out of county general now, knowing, and then it's a little bit of work on the.
So I think that's what we did with the 55,000 for the inmate medical.
That's what I thought, but,
Took it out of the general fund knowing
Yeah.
that we can use the that
So we still got
funds.
another
So,
40.
yeah,
Right.
okay.
is that it, Rick?
Huh?
Is that it?
That's good to know, Jackie.
That's all I've got.
Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Okay, and then we have I have one more on the list. Janie, you wanted to revisit one?
Treasurer on page 3.
Janie wants to revisit treasurer on page 3.
I think it's actually maybe 9.
That's not the treasurer.
9.
9,
I was just off by 6, Jeff.
okay.
I would like to make a motion to reinstate one full-time deputy. Am I phrasing that correctly, Martha?
Yes.
And you
Kenny
want,
gave us a letter explaining some of the checks and balances, and I just,
That would be on
Thank you.
line 11300.
thank you.
that's the one we removed one deputy, correct? Did we add a part-time to that?
We changed the full to a part.
We changed the full to part-time.
I'd like to reinstate that to a
So
full-time.
if we go back and add that back in, then there is no part-time, right?
Correct, we just add the additional money that we,
So the extra help line is different from a part-time line. That extra help line is for her help during tax season that she has to have. This would just be keeping her line 11300 at the 75,185.
Because I also. Okay, I don't think Janie made that into a motion. Is that a motion? That is a motion. Okay, Jeff, second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one will be put back, Martha. On that line 11300.
Okay, we also need to go back and revisit line 12011 and add back in that stipend.
Yeah,
Oh.
because we cut that.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to increase that back to the 1,500?
So moved.
Jeff first,
Second.
Janie second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Martha, that one is going to go back up to 1,500.
Okay, one other thing is we need to rescind your motion for the 12012 for the part-time stipend.
For the what? 1201. Oh, no.
we had to create it,
Right.
so I
I was
moved
going to say, because that's not even on
to
mine I get.
to remove line 12012, the part-time stipend.
Okay. Amy's got a motion on the table to rescind that.
Second.
Second, Jeff second. Any questions on the motion?
Yes. We take that line out completely?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's all I needed. Thank you.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay. Any further questions? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Martha, that one passed. Okay. Now, I guess my question of the day is there anywhere else in this book that you guys wish to travel?
Can you give us a total now?
We were 1.51, which that changed again tonight. Well, it went down, went back up.
We're still down. So,
You didn't have it last time.
no, it's here. It's not.
No pressure, Martha.
Yeah, no pressure.
Well, the only problem is I can't access that spreadsheet that has it, that you guys were at 1.5.
1.51.
1.4,
Correct.
so you're sitting pretty close to 1.52.
Okay. And that's even with this here,
That's adding that.
1.52. And that still does not include the benefits or
It does
anything?
not include your benefits, you're looking probably at another $75,000 there.
So that pretty much hits the 2 million.
It'll hit you really good close.
So it would hit us 1.6, somewhere through there?
Possibly, I don't
Possibly
know.
1.6. Okay. That was this council's goal. Actually, it's pretty well on the goal. So I'm going to ask again, is there any place else in this budget book that anyone would like to go?
I do have one question.
Okay?
With the money that, and I'm just gonna use the sheriff for example, that he has, that he's gonna return, and at this time, he says it's over 300,000. And this might be a question for Jackie or Martha.
That's what I worked on today.
Would it be beneficial to this budget and/or next year's budget to do a budget reduction resolution on a portion of that money, if not all of it?
Yes, and I'll explain, I guess I probably should come here. That's kind of what I looked at today, was I had Martha send me a budget, what I call a budget status. It tells what was originally appropriated, spent, and what's left. And I apologize I didn't get clear through it, but I got through some pretty significant reductions that I think you possibly could take. And obviously, I haven't talked to Martha on these yet, so I'm not sure that these are exact numbers. But I'll give you an example. When I go into, and this is probably some that the sheriff is going to return, because he knows he sees he's not going to spend it. But when I go into the corrections officers, currently there is $402,000 left as of yesterday in that line item left to spend for the end of the year. And if I take the original amount of the budget and take it down to the point where the other salaries are, which is about 23% is left in the salary line items, there's $100,000 left in that line above and beyond what I think that you possibly would need, which means we could do a reduction in the current year of $100,000. I went in and then looked at the 2026 budget, and he has reduced that amount down. It's already reduced back down. I think he put in $1,036,000, and if we took the $100,000 away this year, that would be $1,058,000 for this year. So that's $100,000 you can take off of this year's budget. He's not going to spend it, so you can reduce it. That takes that second half installment that we have to allow in the 18-month process down, which means that the amount that we need to collect in the 18-month process will go down. So it does reduce your levy deficit by $100,000. And I found a few. Some are smaller, some are larger, but I looked in prisoners' meals. There's currently 36% left in the meals. I did the same thing with the 23% that needed to be left. There was $10,000 there.
Well, my question would be, if he doesn't spend that, and that's money that's left over, that would revert to the general fund anyway.
It does go into the cash operating balance, but you're committed, he could spend it. If you did a budget reduction, then he can't spend it, and it comes off of that levy worksheet that I gave you. The top line is what's requested, the second line is,
Sheet.
You guys have not done.
Okay, you need to stop there because this is all new information to
Yeah.
us, and we have no sheets.
Yeah, because we were not done with it.
okay.
I can,
But anyway, in your budget process, when we're working 18 months, we put in, the first line is the amount that's requested for 26. The second line is the amount left to spend that's already been appropriated this year. That would be what your original budgets, any encumbrances, any additionals. And we put those two lines together, and that's our need for 18 months. And then we get down into the bottom section, and we start with our revenue side of it, which is, we start with that July 1 cash operating balance. We add the last 6 months' revenues, we add next year's estimated revenues, we determine what we want our cash operating balance to be, and that's where we decide how much revenue we have and how much then we need to collect. If we reduce either one of those needs on lines 1 or 2, that impacts the amount that we need to collect next year to cover the 18-month cycle. And you'll see it, maybe it'll be a little bit clearer. Oh, she's showing it here. It's this line right here, and I'm going to go to this side. and hope everybody can see.
it's a little bit easier to see.
There we go. So this is what I call the levy worksheet, and this is your operation funds that'll help get you within the levy. And this is before any of your cuts, because we're at $3 million over levy. This number says we're $3 million over levy. And here's what I'm talking about. This is our original budget request, the 19.4. The 9.5 is what we have left to spend, already appropriated in the general fund this year. That's left in 25 as of July 1. And then we put 200,000 in here for any additionals that might happen in the last 6 months, so that we don't impact our cash operating balance down here later, which makes our need for 18-month cycle $29,000, or $29 million, 29,156. Then we go down to the bottom side. Our cash balance on June 1st was $7,073,000. Our taxes to be collected, property taxes to be collected in the December settlement, where this is at the estimation of what was abstracted, what was charged, and less the amount collected in the spring, is $3,174,000. We do an estimated revenue for 6 months, the last 6 months of the year, and we use, that's a systematic sheet that we use using 2.5 years average, multiplying it by 6, and then it's $4,382,000, and then next year we have $9,051,000 of revenue we anticipate outside of property taxes, meaning we have $23,681,000 of available money right here.
I'm trying to go, yeah.
That's plenty far enough, you can see everything. So we need to raise $5.4 million to cover this current year and our wish list, because I call the estimate, the request, a wish list. Then, in order, our new circuit breakers with all of the new credits, we're estimating at $882,000. We want to keep a good portion of I kind of used what we had in the past, a $4.8 million cash operating. That's what we would have on December 31st to start the next year at 4.8, which means that we need to raise a levy of $11 million, $11,157,000, in order to fund this just the way it is. When we compile all of them together, That's where we came up that we're 3 million over levy. So anytime we reduce this, which is the 2026 budget request, or we reduce the current year down, that lowers this amount, which would end up lowering this amount.
So the budget reduction would be smart.
So, especially when we're in a time where we need to get to a place, and I've worked this in a lot of counties, we've done this. If we reduce the current year budget, we don't want to hurt them. We don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to take anything that they need. But the sheriff tells us he has 300,000. If we take it out of here, that same 300,000 could stay up here because we've reduced it $300,000. So you don't have to reduce this line. Now, if it's one that, and there were a couple in there, where the amount was requested at the same amount next year and where there's money we can take away, then if we're not using it this year, why would we appropriate it all next year? There are some of those in there. And I know we try to estimate so we don't have any additionals throughout the year, but when we're in a crunch time like this, where we need to get those numbers down, then we really don't want to put a big cushion in there. Our cushion will come when, if we have to have an additional, that's what this cash operating helps us do. Fund the first several months of the year and any of those emergency additionals. Does that help and make sense? Which, in answer to your question, yes, it would impact and it would help the budget process. And our total goal is to get this amount being raised in property taxes, and it may take us a couple of years to get there, but this amount raised in property taxes plus this new money coming in, estimated revenues, those two numbers should be fairly close to this budget request, and then we truly have a balanced budget. And that cash operating can stay where it is. In these times when we don't know what's happening at the legislature and changes are being made and changes are already being talked about, when we budget, we want to make sure that this cash operating balance is what we need, we feel we need to start, and then work that budget backwards, so that at the end of the year, we've got that money in order to move forward in case something happens, like COVID, when some of the revenues really fell off. If we have this cash operating balance that's sustainable, that gets us through those crunch times. And we work all of these together. And there are some places where I think this cash operating balance is too high. And we talked about that a couple years ago, which is when the civil defense rate went to zero because they had so much money. They had so much money, and a 3 years ago when we talked, we got rid of that rate for a while. I mean, we were collecting more than what our budget was, and we have that same issue here in aviation. Now, you can't get rid of it all at once, but in aviation, we have a budget request of $183,000, and we're going to collect 201. So that's going to make that cash operating just grow every year. In a crunch time, we want that cash operating balance to be where it needs to be. And then any of this that we don't use here comes over here when we need it to get in the levy. Because when they work our budget, they'll work CCD first, they'll work Q Bridge next, then they'll work each of these other funds, and county general will be last. So if we leave a large cash operating balance and we're collecting more than what our budget is, they're going to leave it that way because that's the way we requested it. And this will grow. The other one is the health department has 2 years worth of cash operating balance. Now, I'm not recommending taking it all away at once, but I'm recommending, again, look at the difference. we're collecting $140,000 more a year than they even need to fund their budget. And when we do that, that impacts and makes it difficult on county general, because they all work together. We don't want to hurt them, and we want them to operate at capacity, but right now, these two particular are hurting county general. Reassessment is the same way. We're collecting $531,000 and the budget's $417 requested. So these are some things that you can do also to get that levy down and where you need to be. For now, they wouldn't go into county general, they'll just save being able to budget up here. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions?
Well, it's bookkeeping difficulty for me, for sure, but I understand the premise.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to hurt these budgets.
No.
Nor do we want to get to a place where they're not fundable. But be collecting more each year than what they even need is an impact and hurting the other parts of the budget.
That's been done for so long, it's been hard to change that mentality.
Right. And how it happened, this is my guess, but how it has happened in the past is in the past, some counties, and I'm not saying this county did, but some counties would take what they're raising this year in levy and multiply it by the growth, and that's what they took. Whether they requested 4% more, they grew this 4% more. And maybe their fees went up. And so this just continues to graduate these cash operating balances up. Now, your CUME funds work a little bit different, but you want to reserve in those. That's the whole purpose of the CUME fund. And because they're a rate, you adopted a rate of what you want to collect each year. So they work differently. But these levy-driven funds, these are levy-driven funds, all work together.
Martha, does this all make sense to you?
Pardon?
I asked Martha if this all made sense to her.
Yeah, we've talked about it several times.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, and just off the wall, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but number one, that money goes back into the general fund at the end.
It does.
Greg has done, I trust Greg 100%. He's done very good.
Right, I'm not criticizing that at all. He's telling you he's got
And I am
$300,000 that's
not
going to go in.
into budget reductions because, not in that speculation, because I think what you're
Then
doing
you're
is
going to have to take it
you're
away from this year.
basing that on speculation of what they will spend.
That's correct. That's what every budget is. It's an estimation of
But
what's
she's
being
got
spent.
figures in front of her, she's got budget.
We wouldn't, you
It's
can't
based on
do this.
speculation, and she lost me in turn two, because you also said in that third part down that you were talking about raising taxes.
No, I'm not talking about raising taxes at all. I'm not talking about I haven't talked about raising taxes at all. This, you're collecting, you're taxing more than what you need for the aviation. Right now, in what you've budgeted, what you've advertised and published, you're going to collect $185,000 in property taxes and $16,000 in revenues, miscellaneous revenues. That is $201,000, and their budget's only $183,000.
Okay.
Okay?
This is,
And we don't do
to me,
this.
and I don't know whether this is just me or if maybe it's just me, this is way late in the game.
Well, it is late.
It is way late in the game on things.
No, it isn't.
It's way late in the game, you too. This is way late in the game.
I'll be glad to leave. I'm just
Please
giving you
leave.
options that were
Stay.
asked.
Courteous.
But what I'm saying is, I've asked the council twice if there was anywhere else they wanted to go in this budget book.
You're gonna
And the
have
answer
to,
is
you're
no.
gonna have to cut another $1.5 million.
Now, the reason I thought you were here was on the levies.
That is what we're talking
That's
about.
what I want to talk about is the levies, of what you guys are actually wanting to move on the levies and where you're wanting to move them.
That's what we're talking about.
But you
We
got us
don't,
going back into budget reductions.
right, but we don't do
Sure.
a budget reduction without the sheriff. Okay? We don't just systematically cut it. I'm just looking at things that I saw in a review.
So why is this so late in the game? Why is this on the last day of the budget
It's
cycle?
not late in the game. I've been discussing this with you all the whole time.
It is way late in the game.
We have-
You know, Baker Tilly has never showed back up. You know, this is something, in my opinion, that should have been done a month ago.
Don't hold that that against Jackie, and we did.
I'm not. What I'm saying
We put her
is,
last today. We put her
it's
last.
something that should have been done 3 weeks ago.
But you asked if there was anything else we wanted to cut, and we hadn't heard from Jackie yet. I think in
I
fairness
asked
to
you
Jackie.
if there was anything else you wanted to cut in this budget book at this time.
So you have
This is an
currently cut-
informational meeting. Go ahead.
You have currently cut $1,595,445 out of this budget.
So if
And
you
you-
take, Martha, can you go in and subtract it in this line? I can make an equals, and then subtract that amount out, and you'll see where you still are out of levy.
Don't
see my computer.
Don't be rude.
But please, understand, I'm not saying we cut their budget where they can't work. I'm saying we get with the sheriff, he just said he has 300,000 to turn back. If we reduce that out of this line, we can't, out of this year's budget, we can fund his next year's budget. If you don't reduce it out of this year's budget or somewhere, then it's going to come out of next year's budget, because you cannot adopt a budget $1.5 million over levy. And they'll take it all from county general. They'll work all the others the way they are. So this is an option and a way to let our department heads who have been working at it, obviously, they've been working at trying to get into these, and that 300,000 the sheriff talked about, give us the line items and how much you think is going to be left, and that's the reduction that we do. We don't just systematically pick a number. Was showing numbers that I was estimating for line items that could be looked at. I'm not taking anybody's money or hurting their budgets, other than trying to get them fundable for next year and get you into your new money is what your budget is. So Martha, yeah, okay, now scroll up here. Now we're still $1.5 million over levy.
Are you hearing her?
Say that again, so I didn't hear.
We're still $1.5 million over levy. With all the cuts
Even
you've
after our
done.
cuts.
With all the cuts you've done. If you don't do anything, they're gonna take it off of here and you're gonna have to figure out where. Because this will not pass the Department of Local Government
So
Finance.
we can do what we need to do by going in and adjusting levies and working balances, or operating balances.
We can't adjust we can't just adjust the levy. This has to fund down. This is the way they work your budget. This is exactly the way they work your budget. They work what you adopt, what you have left to spend, and your revenues, and these come in. And some of our revenues might be a little higher than what they estimated, and we take the higher of the two. And they work this, and they'll come down to a number that's fundable. And when they see that 1.551 is not fundable, they'll take it right off of this amount right here, next year's budget. Where if we have revenue budgets that aren't being spent this year, we can still get this number down. I mean, the sheriff already saw the one, because he didn't request that much next year. So if we took that $100,000 from this year, that number's going to go down to 1.4.
So we've actually done that with the sheriff.
You haven't yet. He's
But I-
told you that there's 300 out there. That would
But
take
I mean,
this
it's on
down
the
to
book.
1.2.
We're prepared to do that.
So he can come to me and say, I need to reduce this line by $100,000, I'm not going to spend it.
Yeah,
And we can do that reduction, which will help take that off. If
the
department
department
sees,
So that's what we
head
have
has
to
to
do
agree
with
to
the-
it.
yeah, we would never do it without the approval of the department head. It's not something I'm gonna go in and look at a budget, I'm gonna say, oh, I think that the clerk's office can do with $50,000 left in this line. I'm just gonna reduce it. I would never do that.
Yeah.
It would be
You
the
couldn't do
department
that.
head. Right.
The department head or the elected official has to have buy-in. This is a budget that you adopted for them, so they have to have buy-in. But I was just bringing a point forward of where you can get some of this number off and not hurt next year's budget as poorly.
Can we do an experiment and let's just pretend like we've done the 300,000
Sure.
reduction?
Martha, do that same thing here and reduce 300,000. We can do a couple more experiments while we're standing.
Hold on, I have a little more light on this laptop than I've got.
We just went down to 1.2. Now, I'm going to show you something else, and this is where we were talking about levies, since we're on this sheet. So, this guy right here has 128,000 cash operating balance.
Who is
That's
that? We
two-
can't read.
That's aviation.
Thank you.
That's 2/3 of their budget. So if we lowered this down to 78,000, and if you click in it, it's not, you need to lower this number to 64,265. You don't have to minus 70, just lower that to 64,265. There you go. And now scroll down. You can see how it impacts. A little further. The other way, I'm sorry, scroll up. I said down. I want the picture to go down. Now we're down to 1.201. We can do the same thing, and we haven't hurt his budget at all. He still has 90,000. He's still collecting half of his money. I mean, he's still got 153,000 or $151,000. So we're a little short, but he won't spend all of this, and we'll get a little bit more. And we can do the same thing with health here. Now, I don't want to take it all at once because you don't want to get to the point where all of a sudden you got to put it back. So let's click on this square right here, Martha, the cash operating for health.
Okay.
So if we took this to, let's say we took it down 50,000, make that 86 instead of 91. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Make it 869.
Did I not get it right?
No, you didn't do it right. Go back in there. $869,808. They still have a humongous balance. We could probably take this one down more. We're now down below 1.2. We're down to 1.15. These are ways you can move it. I would move this one a little bit more. The same thing with reassessment. Reassessment's collecting in property taxes more than they're bringing in, or more than they need. So if we took this one down $100,000, make it 233. We're now down to $1,051,000. So we've just reduced this in the levies and that 300,000 from the sheriff by $500,000.
How many more places are there that we can do
There
that?
are several, and you can look at some of them and see that, and I apologize, I mean, I went through it this afternoon, and the sheet didn't have any, I mean, it's the Excel spreadsheet out of Lao. There are some of them that when you reduce it this year, I think your elected officials will see, well, gee, I didn't need it this year. I really don't need it next year, because we often put the same amount in year after year for supplies or for utilities or for whatever. I'm just using examples. And so there are some of those that we reduce in this year, maybe can be reduced in next year, which will bring this down more. And now we're really getting someplace, right?
So that's something you would have to get with the department heads and see if they can,
See what they're willing to do. And I can tell you, we did this in Switzerland County. It took us 2 years to be able to get it to where we were submitting a budget and it was flowing the way you want it to flow. it can't all be done in 1 year. I mean, we're not gonna solve the problem in 1 year, but this is a huge step toward it. And it also helps the elected officials, not that they don't understand, don't get me wrong, but it helps them understand the full picture. Because until you really work in it, you don't see the full picture. We've still got 40,000 we can move from here over into this public safety lit, because we're gonna get $1,600,000. He's spending $1,550,000, so we got another 40,000 we can put in there. Not gonna hurt this. We're still gonna have cash operating, 400,000 cash operating at the end of next year, should he need something special. But yet we've taken this down another $40,000. If we say no additional appropriations, have we done any since July 1 in county general? I'm just talking county general.
No, we have not.
We can rip this guy right out of here and you guys say, hey, there's no additionals the remainder of the year, find it in your budget
What is
unless
that?
it's an emergency.
200,000.
And that's 200,000. We advertise this away because on June 30th, you never know what could happen. And this number can come out. Zero that out, Martha. Hume Bridge, it doesn't affect, so it doesn't affect it there. Now we're down to 851. We're really down to 800,000 if we move that 40 over here.
Wow.
It's workable. If we can't get anywhere else, and now if we look, Martha, take another 40 off of here just to pacify me right at the moment. Just go down here and minus 40,000. Now when we look at our budget, look where we are. This is what we want to bring in. This is our estimated money. We're budgeting less than our new money coming in. We'll get to a point when we can get rid of these others gradually, that will all work its way out. And so we're not over budgeting. We still have to figure out this 800,000, but we're really not over budgeting with this budget because our levy, well, if we took this down 800,000, it would be 8,200,000 plus 9. We're right at that 17 million. We're about $500,000 off. But we're real close to only budgeting new money and still have a cash operating balance that we can live with, that we will easily survive with, because it's well more than 15% of your budget.
But these things that you're talking about now need to be done before we adopt.
Done before you adopt.
Do you care if I ask a question?
No.
Go ahead.
All right. So if we adjusted the cash on hand by 811,000,
We can't justify it.
we can't justify it.
This is exactly what was there.
Um,
This is what was charged, property taxes less what was collected in May.
Okay.
This is an estimate, and we always want to underestimate revenues, because if for some reason something happens and they don't come in, like the time of COVID, we don't want to have a shortfall. Where we would adjust is, if we wanted to adjust 800,000, would be this cash operating. I caution at that, because we want to make sure we have enough of this budget to fund. But if nothing else happens, part of our problem here are these new credits that we're giving. Instead of deductions, we're giving credits now for age deductions, and so that raised the circuit breaker. Martha, can you go up, because I have it down here. So last year in county general, our circuit breakers were 579,000. This year they're 882,000 because of those new credits. So that's 300,000 of that 800,000.
Then how do we get to where we need to be? That's the real question.
By moving these levies and then making a decision, do we want to cut here? I think we can find more in the current year, And in finding more in the current year, I think we might even find more in '26. Because if I requested 50,000 in '25 and I've only spent 30, one I can tell you is unemployment. I just popped in my head. We budget a lot for unemployment. But we haven't spent a lot because we only spend when somebody files against us.
We cut it, but we didn't cut it very much, did we?
Yeah, but we can cut it this year and at least maybe cut a little more next year. If we have it, I mean, if we need it, obviously we'd have to additional appropriate. But we hope we don't. We hope we keep our employees and we don't have to. Right?
Right.
Because once we get them trained, we hate to see them go.
Right.
So, but in answer to your question, you know, it's looking at this year, it's not going to be spent. Is any of that eligible to not be requested next year? And unemployment was one. There are a couple others in the commissioner's budget I can't think off the top of my head, but, and see if we can reduce, pardon,
We cut unemployment and short-term disability for next year.
how much?
Short-term disability, we cut by $20,000, and unemployment, we cut down, I want to say 50,000.
Cut it from 50 down to 10,000.
We cut it by 50,000, cut it down to 10,000.
Okay, well then, that would have, and see, I know there's 32,000, I think, left in unemployment this year.
We have
Only
four-
7,000 had been spent, if I'm, remember my numbers.
Right.
So we can also get that money.
Right, yeah, you can reduce that down. And see, you've taken care of it for next year because it's not being spent this year. So we're not hurting anybody's budget. Obviously, the commissioners are gonna have to say yay, but we wanna keep our employees. I've not had a county that didn't buy into this. And the same thing can happen in these other funds. It can happen in the health fund. If the health fund's got money they're not gonna spend this year, reduce it. And let's get this levy down.
So you're saying we can even reduce taxes and still make budget?
No, we reduced this year's.
Well,
Move the taxes.
yes. We've got to reduce, I think we're at 800, we've got to reduce 800,000 more from here, and that would give us just a 4% growth.
I need my sheets for Superior Court 2 and 1.
I like the way you think.
I think you had some jurors, maybe, that you haven't used.
Oh, no, I've used everything.
It's hard, it was hard to see where I
Wrong
was,
judge.
which court I was in and where I was, so. But this is what I came to explain to you tonight.
I appreciate it.
Ways, options that you have.
And it looks like
you
there's
know,
still plenty.
We often, I'm a former elected official, we often budget a little more than we think we might need, and we're now in September. We know if we had an employee that had been off, if we had an employee that wasn't there, I think the sheriff talked about that. The rest of that salary's there, get it out of there for this year. He's not gonna spend it, he can only spend it on that employee and then leave it enough to pay an employee out,
Right.
but not any of the in-between.
Where did it tell me the bad was?
Thank you, Jackie.
Make sense?
Thank you.
It makes a lot of sense.
So like you said, this is going to put homework back on the department heads and work
I think we knuckle down and we do what she says.
first of the year.
No, we have to do it now.
Well, that's up to the department heads.
Right, and I think they'll agree. The department heads,
But they
in my
need to get
opinion, have been very willing to work with
Yeah, but
us.
they need to get with the market.
Yes,
Jackie, it would be a fair assessment to say that department heads can go do their homework, figure out what's not going to be spent, bring that in as budget reductions. We can work the spreadsheet magic. Or if that doesn't happen, we need to cut 800,000.
That's correct. You either need to cut 800,000 or you need to take it away from your cash operating balance.
but it looks like
And I
if the
would not
department
take
heads,
it
do we have most of the department heads here tonight? I think,
We have several here.
if they're willing to work their books and come back to Martha, it's gonna be between them and Martha at this point.
And even if it's just $5,000, $5,000 in every department adds up.
Yep.
And we're talking about everything that's in the levy, general, reassessment, health, aviation. Those are the ones that impact this levy. And you'd be surprised how quickly it can add up.
Well, it did right there with you going through it with us.
But it's not anything we do without the department.
The department heads, right.
Buy-in.
He must be already working with
He's
Martha.
in deep thought, whatever it is.
Can we have the lights back on then now?
Yeah. Turn
Did
the
the
lights
sheriff
back
leave?
on, please.
Thank you.
So you don't get bored anymore?
Jackie, I really appreciate you coming down here and doing this. And I apologize for any
We're fine.
heated words.
We all have a passion.
Well, you answered my questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Yeah, I've been
that
in your
will
shoes.
give,
And I wasn't looking for any departments by no means.
Oh, I don't want
Go through.
to, I've been an elected official.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that either. I've been a county auditor in 2 different counties and a county reporter.
do you guys want to go back into this book?
I have a passion for
Or you
these
wanna
elected
wait?
people.
I think we need to let the department heads talk to Martha, and then I think we need to set another day.
If we set another date, that's going to bump the adoption date back.
It does not bump the adoption because we're not doing a public hearing. Am I correct?
That's correct.
We have
You
done
would
our
just,
public-
you would do a public hearing for the reduction, but not for the budget. You just do it in between. I mean, you can hold a special meeting just to do your reduction,
You're going to kill me.
or you can do it ahead of your adoption. That just makes it difficult for you getting paperwork done for that night to sign. What
Can
day
you-
is adoption?
Can
day?
you do it, Martha?
October 7th.
Okay.
October 7th, wow, that's gonna be
Number
crunch
12.
time.
Okay. So there'll be another meeting set, but you can do it right before the adoption?
You'll have to advertise. You could, but that means if you do, I mean, if they don't come up with all of it, you're gonna have to make that final decision where you're gonna cut the rest.
And so,
But you would have to advertise pretty quickly to get your 10-day ahead of it, because you'll have to have a public hearing just like an additional to do a reduction. Everything we did on here, except that 300 of the sheriff and, actually 340 of the sheriff, can be done by work. You can make that decision. You can make that decision to lower those down even more.
Okay, so if the department heads do that, Martha, you and I will have to get together once this starts rolling
I think she's working on trying to get dates lined up.
and set another date, or she doesn't have to do it at the moment, but,
I can say you can adopt without that reduction being appropriate or being actually done.
Really?
Yeah, because she'll show it in the worksheet of the budget adoption, and then you can adopt it at your
I see.
November meeting, if you want to do that. If you don't, if there's not time to advertise it, knowing you're reducing those,
Okay.
you're gonna reduce that line, and you would just have to give a copy to your field rep to show them that that's what they're doing in November.
Well, that helps.
So it just has to be done before the end of the year,
That helps.
so that they don't, when they work the budget, they don't miss it.
so you guys are done with this budget book for tonight?
For tonight, yes.
Okay. Martha, you got anything for us? And then me and you'll have to figure this out. Okay. There's nothing left in this budget book, and that's the only places I want to go now. So if everybody is done.
I'd like to say something, if I may.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank all the department heads, because it appears to me that when you knew we were really facing a hard time, you've all stepped up and tried to help us make these cuts. Now we're going to ask you all to go just a little bit further and help us get to where we need to be so we can actually adopt a funded budget. Thank you. Thank you.
from all of us.
Thank you, Rick.
Phil, good?
Yeah, I appreciate the hard work that everybody's put into this. It's taken a toll on everybody, of course. And I just want to thank you for all the effort you put into it.
Jeff? Good. You good?
I am. I echo those statements, and the school teacher in me has to say you have homework, you'll be emailed a due date, and don't be late.
Well, as I stated before, we did a lot of things on this one that, I know you're not gonna believe it, but I have heard from most of the council that we went home and this bothered us every night. We got up the next morning and I would get phone calls starting at
7:15.
7:15.
So I wasn't the earliest one.
Because we were doing things we didn't want to do. It's not smooth, it's not flat, it was not easy. And as you can see now, it's not over. And I just want you to be aware that, and I'm speaking for all of us, because I've talked to all of you, for the last month, month and a half, this has bothered us bad. It really has. So with that being said, if there's nothing else,
Do we recess?
we are going into recess, and as of the moment, October 7th is the adoption day, and we will probably set one more, correct? Maybe. We'll get with you. We'll get together.
Sheriff, we're recessing.
We are in recess.
What she did.